Things were hard when Kayla's mom first started to unravel.
Kayla? There was obviously something going on that I couldn't explain. The blood, the scratches. I knew I had to do something.
You killed families in their sleep. Like our very own son of Sam.
You're not welcome here. I want you to leave.
I've never felt so out of control in my entire life. The last thing I wanted was to be in there alone.
Here, kitty, kitty, kitty. Here, kitty, kitty, kitty. Kitty.
When I was 12, my parents got divorced, and my dad and I relocated to Virginia for his job. I was just starting junior high. It was hard, leaving my friends and my school. But my dad said it was for the best, and that my mom couldn't take care of me anymore.
You okay with pizza for dinner? Kayla?
Was that you?
Was what me?
Pizza's fine. Again.
All right, well, we eat in 15 minutes.
Things were hard when Kayla's mom first started to unravel.
Father of the year.
By the end, it was so bad that our lives actually improved after she left. The biggest problem was Kayla spent too much time reading about mental illness. Poor kid was worried that what happened to her mother would happen to her.
Hello?
Kayla, come on in.
Is someone in here?
Hey, Kayla, time to come in. Kayla? Kayla? Kayla?
She saw a couple of dead animals under the porch, and I thought she was making it a bigger deal than it actually was.
Cats do that. You know, they find somewhere dark and quiet to die. And probably the same with squirrels. It's not a graveyard, okay? I promise.
So go under there and look.
I'm not gonna go poking around under the house, neither will you. Got it? Do I need to put a lock on the door? All right, pizza's gonna be cold by now.
That's okay.
Come on. Come on, we're gonna be late.
It sounded like the voice was inside our house.
What?
Who grabbed me?
Kayla, quit playing around. We gotta go.
Did you hear that? A boy? Don't look at me like that. I'm not like Mom.
I just dropped it. I guess I was afraid to sound crazy and end up locked away like my mother.
After our divorce was finalized, Kayla's mom was admitted to a psychiatric hospital near the town where we lived. It wasn't voluntary. I wanted to get Kayla away from all that and start fresh. So when the opportunity for relocating to my hometown in Virginia came along, I jumped at it.
Okay, your turn. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Kayla hadn't made a ton of friends at her new school, but she and Alicia seemed like they were becoming really close.
17, 19, 20.
Alicia was a little strange at times, but she was a good kid.
Alicia was into scary movies and kind of had a dark imagination. I thought that was really cool, but my dad always found it a little weird.
Shouldn't have come under here.
Kayla! What?
We're gonna get in trouble. My dad. Cool.
Kayla, time to come in.
We gotta go. He'll be real mad if he finds us under here. Why do you think he was under the porch?
Alicia, your mom's waiting outside. Did you finish all your homework for tomorrow?
Yeah.
It's not storming out. What is that?
I found it outside.
I'm gonna make sure I see the file I was working on. Be right back.
I know I didn't bring that doll to the table. Or at least I didn't remember bringing it. I should have thrown that doll away that night. But for some reason, I didn't.
It's not a graveyard. Hey, I promise.
So go under there and look.
I'm not gonna go poking around under the house. Neither will you. Got it? It's not storming out. What is that?
I found it outside.
looked up for just a second, and the document I was working on had been deleted, replaced with the word guilty for hundreds of pages. It made no sense. I thought my daughter had been exaggerating, but she was right. It was an animal graveyard with bones all arranged in these weird patterns.
Then where'd it go? I don't know. Did you crawl out of your toy box? $23.39.23.
Thanks.
Alicia thought that putting a lock on my toy chest might help me sleep better at night.
Who do you think killed the animals?
I don't know.
I've been watching you go back and forth. What was under there?
Just, lots of trash. Fire hazard, you know? Hey, you been, getting any surges in your electric?
No?
Shoot. I was hoping it was the grid instead of the house.
I remembered hearing about the cul-de-sac killer as a kid. He was like our very own Son of Sam or Night Stalker. He broke into houses in our neighborhood, killed families in their sleep. But he'd been caught over 20 years before, and he'd already been executed.
Kayla.
Did you open it?
What?
I finally told my dad about the doll that night, and he ended up telling me that he found the animal bones under the porch and threw them away.
Hey, what are you doing?
Our neighbor was looking through that bag of animal bones.
We never found him. Boo-Boo, he was always an indoor-outdoor, but he never strayed far. But that boy would ride his bicycle over here to visit his grandparents. And I caught him more than once trying to catch Boo-Boo. I never even knew his name until years later, after all those nights of no sleep and locked doors, and when he became famous. Eric Mandel. His grandparents lived in your house, Frank. When he was little, he used to come over here to visit. Now I know he wasn't just visiting. That little son of a bitch killed my cat.
Eric Mandel. That was the cul-de-sac killer's name. And I'd seen him in my house. I couldn't deny it anymore. Everything I've been seeing, it was him. Maybe it was because I messed with the animal bones, or Kayla had taken that doll into the house. It was like somehow we had stirred things up.
After my dad burned the doll, I didn't hear the boy's voice again. No more weird noises or power surges. And I stopped worrying about turning out like my mom. My dad didn't tell me the truth about Eric Mandel until years later. But I know now that he's the reason why I was seeing those things. I wasn't going crazy. And I never was.
I'd been living in my new house, first house actually, for about 2 months. It needed a lot of work, way more than I had time to deal with. I closed escrow on my house the same day it was the end of the biggest case of my career. I've been working nonstop, night and day since moving in, so I was beyond exhausted. And no time to unpack. Let alone deal with an old house. I could have sworn I moved that mug from the counter to the end table. But it was shattered all the way across the room. Like it just slipped off the counter. I was so tired, I figured I hadn't moved it in the first place. who would be at my door that late at night?
Can I help you?
Hi, I'm Lena. This is Jack. We live next door.
You, moved in a while back. We were thinking maybe it's time to take the sold sign down and mow your lawn.
Okay. Maybe I'll take it down tomorrow.
I'm sure you're very busy with work.
The whole thing was really strange. I thought maybe they were from the neighborhood block association or something. But if they knew I had been in the house for a couple of months, why were they now stopping by at 11 p.m. in the middle of a lightning storm?
Okay. Thanks.
See ya.
It was only for an instant, but I swear I saw an old man standing right in front of me, outside my kitchen window.
Okay, time for bed.
I convinced myself that the creepy exchange with my neighbors must have freaked me out, and I just needed a good night's sleep. I knew the endless cycle of caffeine and sleeping pills wasn't healthy. But this case was a big chance for me to make a name for myself at the firm. I wasn't about to blow it. It was just a nightmare. A really vivid, horrible nightmare about that same man I thought I saw outside my kitchen window. The next few nights, I stayed at work really late. It sort of became my routine. I would take a sleeping pill in the car before walking into the house and basically pass out as soon as my head hit the pillow. But one Friday night, the partners at my firm saw how exhausted I was. They said my work was suffering and forced me to leave at 7. They insisted I go home and relax for a night. It was that same sound I heard a few nights before, like old creaky wheels. But this time I knew I wasn't dreaming.
We were thinking maybe it's time to take the sold sign down and mow your lawn.
Okay. Thanks.
You okay? How about some tea? Come on back to the house with us.
As weird as Lena and Jack had first seemed, what I experienced in my house that night was even weirder. The last thing I wanted was to be in there alone. I've never felt so out of control in my entire life. Here I was, a grown woman, an attorney, spending the night at a stranger's house because I was working so hard I was starting to hallucinate.
You out?
Yes. Thanks for letting me stay here last night.
You're welcome. Come join us for breakfast.
Thanks, but I should really get going.
Sure. Right after breakfast. We're big breakfast people.
I'm so embarrassed.
Oh, shh.
I just can't keep up this schedule. I started seeing things.
Claire, we obviously don't know each other very well, but take the weekend off. Move in, unpack. Start turning your new house into a home.
Yeah, that place could use some happy memories.
I met the previous owners. She was pregnant. She said they needed more space. They seemed really happy.
Oh, they were. What Jack is referring to is the couple who lived there before.
Before I could argue about having to get back to work,
They moved onto the block long before anybody was here now. Probably 30 years ago.
Lena started showing me pictures of the couple Jack mentioned.
Okay, so here's Margaret. She got sick right when our son finished high school. Cancer. She was such a sweet woman. Even when she was so weak, she would scoot around in that little wheelchair and wave out the window at the kids walking by. And her husband was always right behind her, William. And he would hold this bag, whatever that thing was behind him.
A saline drip.
Saline, right.
The wheels squeak like crazy.
She stayed at home as long as she could, but then when the pain just got so bad, William took her to hospice care, and that's where she died.
What about him?
He hanged himself a couple of months later. Decided that he didn't want to live without her.
Here he is. This was at one of our summer block parties.
I was embarrassed, but I told Lena about the things I was seeing and hearing in my house. And she didn't think I was crazy. She thought my house was being haunted by William. Law school forces you to always think about things logically, so I never believed in ghosts. But there was obviously something going on that I couldn't explain. If there was even a chance it could be true, I knew I had to do something.
William?
To get him to move on.
You're not welcome here.
And leave me alone.
You hear that? I want you to leave. William? You're not welcome here. You hear that? I want you to leave.
The next couple nights were pretty quiet. No nightmares, no squeaky wheels, no William. It sounds crazy that I stuck it out for that long, but I thought maybe what I said worked. Maybe he left my house. I had a lot of work to catch up on, but I could barely keep my eyes open that night. As soon as my head hit the pillow, I forgot about everything that had happened, and my brain finally just shut off. I slept in my car that night. I was too embarrassed to go back to Jack and Lena's again. I had been attacked twice before that night. But each time, the blood, the scratches, they went away, making me think I'd imagined it. But this time, there was evidence.
Pulse is elevated, so is your blood pressure. You're not sleeping? What's going on, Claire?
I've been seeing things for about a week now. I think there's something wrong with my head. I'm wondering if you should do an MRI.
Okay. First, I think we should run a blood test.
I got a call from Dr. Lawrence asking me to come back to his office. He wouldn't give me any details over the phone, so I knew something was wrong. But nothing could have prepared me for what he had to say.
I recommend that we start treatment as soon as you can get your affairs in order at the office. The oncologists recommend that we start 2 cycles of chemotherapy, 6 weeks apart. 2 cycles, 6 weeks apart.
Leukemia. He told me I had leukemia, but that I was lucky. We'd caught it early. So early, there were no symptoms to indicate I was sick at all, except for those bruises.
Good news. I'm confident you can beat this, Claire.
The crazy thing was, the bruises went away right after he took my blood. Like the only reason they were there was to tell me something. I came really close to selling my house. But once I started the chemo, I never saw William again. And that made me think, maybe this whole time he wasn't trying to scare me. Maybe he was trying to save me because he wasn't able to save his wife.
Oh, I brought something for you.
Oh, what did you bring?
Just a little something for you. You know, we just thought it should be in your house.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah. This is William and Margaret.
That's William, okay.
Actually, there is no maybe. He was trying to save me. And if it weren't for William, I know I wouldn't be sitting here telling this story today.